What is up, YouTube? As you guys know, I usually do a series on my channel called Building a Brand. I started my brand a little over 7 months ago. I've had 4 drops. 2 of them have sold out. 2 of them have flopped. So 4 in total. I'm shooting 2 for 2 from the field, about 50%. With the 2 that have sold out, though, I've restocked those multiple times. And with the other 2, it took a little longer to sell, but one of them eventually all sold, and I'm actually restocking that for the summer. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about all the mistakes that I made with my first drop, and how I would avoid them, or just give you guys some tips and information of things that I would do differently. So, my first tip, and I feel like a lot of people don't talk about this tip, so make sure y'all hit that thumbs up because I'm giving y'all some good information. So whether you're on this channel just to grab some information, if you're here because you're watching the Building the Brand series and you're a part of the journey, leave a thumbs up. It helps push this content out, and I just want a lot of people to have access to this information. So this right here is going to be something I feel like a lot of people don't talk about, and it's this. When you start your Instagram account, do not set it as a business account, okay? Now, you might be saying, well, it is a business. Why wouldn't I set it as a business account? You have a couple of options when you start a brand new Instagram account. Also, TikTok. You can set it as a personal account. You can set it as I think it's like a content creator account, or you can set it as a business account. For both TikTok and Instagram, if you set it as a pure business account, you will not get access to trending sounds, trending music. You'll get all this generic, horrible, bad copyrighted music. For all the people saying, well, you can have a business account, you just got to edit your videos on like a video editing software and put the music on that way. I did that too. And the issue with that is when you do that, sometimes Instagram or TikTok doesn't pull that sound and associate your video with that. So make sure you can use trending sounds and use them to the full capability, because when a song is getting pushed out there, your content will get pushed out there too. So just make sure that that's not the case for you, because that was the case for me. Okay, now, to add on to the music and the trending sounds, my next thing would be, do not just pick a sound because it is trending. Understand your audience and understand what music your audience would listen to. Now, it might be obvious on at like the top layer of it, of like, okay, if your audience listens to hip hop, obviously you're not gonna pick like a Taylor Swift song or something like that to associate with your video. That might be obvious, but it is deeper than that. It's different forms of, let's say, hip hop. So you got hip hop that's like artists that might do super like drill music, like super like, I don't even know how to like properly explain this, but if you in the culture, you'll understand what I'm saying. So you got different artists, okay, and you have to understand what your target audience would listen to. Think of it like the same way if you walk into like a Hollister or like a PacSun or any of these like stores. What music do they play? They play music that they know their audience would likely resonate with. Now, is that always the case? No, but overwhelmingly, like in general, they play music that they think their audience will listen to. So for me, example, one of the sounds that really made me stop doing this was, it was like a Boss Man D-Lo song that was trending, and I was about to post a picture, and the way that I posted pictures was I just post a good picture and I pick like a song that I feel like my audience listened to. And again, it was this Boss Man D-Lo song. No offense to like Boss Man D-Lo and his music. I think he makes pretty good music, but I had posted it, and for whatever reason, I was just getting this feeling like my audience probably is not like really feeling this post, and I could rationalize that because the amount of likes that a post like that would usually get for me, it wasn't getting those likes. So from then on out, I only post music that I feel like my audience will listen to. So At this point, I don't care if it's an underground artist and the reel and the song doesn't have any views, any like plays associated with it. If it's a sound and it's music, I feel like, hey, I like how this sounds. It's giving the vibe that I want to present with my brand. I post that. So don't focus too heavy on trending sounds. It's always a plus. Like for me, it was a plus when Playboy Cardi had dropped his album and all his songs were trending. And I was like, perfect, because now I can actually use trending sounds when 9 times out of 10 I couldn't. So that was a plus for me, but I didn't force it. So just don't force it if it's not there. But if you can, use the trending sounds, but don't make that like your main thing. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is influencers. Now, when I first started off, I was probably just like everybody else. I thought that the bigger the influencer, the higher the chance that it would lead to sales. But at the same time, as soon as I came into the clothing brand space, I also had this idea and this concept is people just want to see models, because I think of it like this. Whenever I watch like a Nike commercial, or if you go to Foot Locker and you see a billboard or a poster or whatever the case may be, I don't know who that model is. I just know they look good in the items that they are wearing. So that was my whole thing with my brand as well. It was like, okay, as long as I can find models, either it's people that I know or people I find on the street and I say, hey, do you model? And they say, yeah, and they want to work with me, whatever that situation is, that's how I'll get my models. And with influencers, I was just thinking the same way at a certain point. Once I realized I've paid a couple of influencers and none of them have really led to direct sales. All the ones that I have not paid have been the most consistent for me, and those have been the ones that have actually led to sales. And as my brand has grown, they've grown. So it's been like a balance, but we have this sort of connection where as soon as I have a new drop, they're like, hey, send me that, I'm ready to go. And that's the kind of relationship you want to build. Now, one thing I will say is if you do send products out to a bigger influencer, especially one that you likely had to pay, 9 times out of 10 it's micro influencers that follow them that want to be in the place that they are, which is getting paid to post. So once they see that you're sending out free product and they also know that influencer charges, they know, okay, if I reach out to you as a brand, maybe at least they'll send me free product. So now at this point, I get messages every single day from smaller influencers asking for free product in exchange for content. And for me, that's perfect, because that's all that I really wanted to send out in the first place was free product, especially when a product sits. So, going back to my first thing of saying how my first two drops didn't sell out, once they weren't selling out, guess what I did? I went ahead and started to send them out to influencers that I felt matched my aesthetic and they posted good quality. Don't send out, this is another thing. If a micro influencer hits you up and you notice once you go to their Instagram, all they post is pictures, I'm like, this, I just tell them straight off the bat. I say, I only work with influencers who post pictures and reels. And they're usually like, okay, yeah, I do need to get on my reels. Thanks for letting me know. But if they're only posting pictures, or if they're posting pictures and 90% of them are bad quality, and go to the reels and they're all bad quality, poor lighting, I usually try and, be super nice about it and say, hey, I'm not looking for any influencers at this moment, or whatever the case may be. But if you go to their page, this is how I found some really good gems, and I like to give a lot of people a chance. So if I go to their page and I'm like, bro, you've got some good poses, you do good lightings. I might go to their reels and I'm like, you need to work on the lighting. I'll usually say, hey man, I need a post like this. I send them a picture reference of one of the posts that they made, and I tell them, hey, I need a reel, but you need to step up the quality of the reel. So I give them a shot, and I've sent it out to multiple people. This can be hit or miss because they might post something bad quality, and And then some of them, they'll surprise you and they post something super good quality. But this is how you can find which ones you can consistently work with and grow with. So that's been a big method of mine, is just finding smaller influencers who want to work and, get consistent product. Because the thing is, how I think about it is, you can work with another brand and, get money and get a product. But the thing is, if you work with my brand, you're getting products every single drop, and it's going to be products that you likely actually like. And this is how I know influencers actually like a lot of the products, is because they rewear it. So if they're rewearing your product, that just shows you that they actually genuinely care about your product. So yeah, work with the small ones and you guys can grow together, and just make sure their content is good. And if you feel like they have potential, because sometimes I see content creators and I say to myself, I see the potential. It's just things you got to work on. And I just try and express that to them in a polite way and just let them know, hey, you need to work on this if you want to work with us. And usually they make those improvements. Sometimes they don't. And all I say is, okay, I got the content out of it, but you're not getting nothing else in the future. Like, I'm not going to tell you that part, but that's what it is. But because sometimes it's at a point now where it's like, I got influencers who are for sure going to get stuff every single time. I got influencers in that group. Then I got influencers who is like, okay, if I got some extra left over, I'll reach out to you. And then I got influencers where it's like, okay, I don't know, you might not get nothing. You might not get nothing ever again. But, keep working, keep grinding, because you can easily move back into one of these other buckets. But right now, you're in this bucket over here that, like, yeah, that's how I've been working and how I've been growing. And then another thing that I want to talk about is you being consistent and you consistently posting content. Now, what I've learned is pictures do not matter as much as reels. I'll post a picture and that could be the picture that's on the feed for maybe a week or two. But in the in-between time, especially when I'm marketing a drop, I'm posting 1 or 2 reels every single day or every other day. But I'm constantly posting new content, new reels. And the reason why I personally prefer videos over pictures is because you can capture more angles, you can capture more background environments, you can show the lighting, and you can show the details of the product a lot easier in a reel, and it just gives off to your customer a more realistic view of the product. So that's one thing that I wish I would have just focused on, especially with Instagram. What I really like is you can have your feed organized, because you can remove stuff from your feed, especially reels. You can say only post to the reels section of your feed, so people don't just think you're flooding them with content, but when they come to your page, it's still like this clear vision of your page from your actual feed post, and then you got your reels in the background. So that's how I do my stuff. So I just constantly keep posting reels and reposting to the story. Now, speaking of story, this will be like the last thing that I talk about for the most part. Speaking of an Instagram story, this is a tool that you should be utilizing as a brand. Now, people don't want to get spammed on their main feed too much, but you can spam as much as you want on your story, because they don't have to click your story. If they're clicking your story, they want to click your story. So with my story, I post as much as I want. I repost content as much as I want. Another thing with my brand, this doesn't have to be every single brand, but my brand, I want my customers to know that I'm happy they shop with us and I'm happy they posted content. So if I don't accept like their collaboration, because at this point I got a lot of customers who send me collaborations for either posts or reels, and I rarely accept those unless we had some sort of like a conversation, as a like an influencer brand kind of conversation, and then we'll do some sort of collaboration with like usually the reels, because I'm really particular on the feed posts that I collaborate with. But when it comes to the story, I don't care who sent me something. If you tag the brand, I post it to the story. And you might be asking, why do you post no matter who the customer is? Why do you post to the story? And the reason is because it's something called a funnel. So when customers are coming to your Instagram, that's the initial part of the funnel that will eventually lead them to buying a product. So there's usually 3 steps. They start on your social media, however they got there, if that's through ads, if that's through organic content that they found you from. From there, they'll likely click the link in your bio to your website. From the website, they'll look at the pricing and all that. Now, a day or two might pass, and within that day or two, if they don't see another post from you, then they might not end up back on your website. But if you're constantly posting to your story and they just recently interacted with your page and they follow you, they'll see your story. So if they click on your story and they're like, okay, hey, I see this customer got that product and they're wearing it and they're reposting it. Okay. They might go back to your website and they'll go to the website again. They be like, I don't know. And then say 2 more days pass. And again, they're following you. So they see your stuff on your story. And the more they click your story, the more often it pops up as one of the stories that they should view. So now again, they click your story again. They see you reposted another customer. So now they're like, okay, this brand actually ships. So at this point, when they click on your website this time, they'll probably check out. That's how you have to think about it. And on top of that, not only do I post customers wearing my product, I try and post like when I go to the post office and I have the packages ready to ship to let all the customer know stuff is shipping, because that's the number one thing with smaller brands and customers. They just don't want to get scammed. And you can't blame them because there's so many brands out here who have scam customers. So you have to create this layer of like, okay, I'm a legitimate brand to your customers. So if you can do all the things that I just mentioned on your very first drop and when you're just starting off and you consistently are posting high quality content, you just keep going, it's going to lead to you getting sales, especially if you have a winning product. So, if you need to rewatch this video and start from the beginning and get you a notepad, do that. But, make sure you check out my page. I'm doing a building a brand series, pretty much breaking down all the things that I do and I'm doing at this point, building my brand. I'm actually shooting an episode right now in between this. So if you're watching the episode before this or you're going to the page after, whatever the case may be, thanks for tuning in. But we're about to get back to this building the brand episode. I just wanted to, since I was at the storage unit, I wanted to shoot this video of like tips and stuff for you guys. So make sure you hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you got to the end of the video, because you watched the whole thing because you wanted to subscribe. Like, come on. You watched because you wanted to subscribe. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.